What is up, everyone? I've always wondered if you can hike along the entire old Seoul City Wall at night. It is 1 in the morning. The entire trail is about 18.6 kilometers. We're starting here from Hanyangdoseong. It's there on the other side. I actually wanted to go clockwise, but when I arrived, I found out that the gate is closed. It is only open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and it is 1 in the morning. So plan B is to go anti-clockwise, and then hopefully by the time I arrive at the Bugaksan trail, those parts will be open as well. We'll just start from here and see how far we can get. I'm a little bit excited. A lot of parts of the trail will be dark, and I don't think I will meet many people around this time along the old city wall. All right, let's do this. I know the wall is not entirely connected. Some parts will be interrupted by houses, neighborhoods and whatnot. For most part, we can enjoy this. And at night, especially here where the wall is lit up, it looks stunning. I like the quietness, I like the city at night. So this is the perfect challenge for me. Here, look at this. You can see many different types of stones. And from the size of the stone, you can see or you can know what time that part of the wall was built. Because over the years, it's been destroyed, some parts, and they had to renovate it many times. And the result of that is that you have different types of stones. Like these look a lot newer than these round stones.
The first walls around Hanyang were built in 1396, when it was the capital of the Joseon Dynasty, present-day Seoul. In just 98 days, hundreds of thousands of laborers were mobilized to build a wall that runs along the ridges of 4 mountains. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. Today, the trail is divided into 6 sections, and moving clockwise, we start with the Naksan section.
So Naksan has always been kind of popular, but now recently it has even become more popular because of K-pop Demon Hunters. It's one of the film's locations. Okay, first climb. Let's go. We're now on top of Naksan, and look at this, the nightscape of Seoul. It's so good. We have a clear day, no cloud in the sky, clear moon, clear stars, and it also means it's pretty cold. It's about -1 degrees right now. We have to go all around the city, over Namsan, over Inwangsan, Bugaksan, and now we're doing Naksan, the 4 guardian mountains of Seoul. But what a view. Here on my left, one of my favorite neighborhoods. It's on the outer side of the wall, and this neighborhood is called Cheongsinddong. Here you have tons and tons of sewing factories, especially during the day when you walk around. You can hear the sewing sound, like tick 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 tick. You can see the steam coming out of the ground, and it's a really fascinating neighborhood that gives you a look into how Seoul's industrial 80s used to look like, and I don't think much has changed. You have some really famous, trendy, hip cafes over there on the other side. Definitely check out this neighborhood if you have time, and make sure to watch my Cheongsinddong video if you want to know more about it. Dongdaemun, the Great Eastern Gate, is the end of the Naksan Trail. And then after that, the new trail starts. We have a very small problem. I have to go to the bathroom. That's a good moment to see if you can go anywhere to public toilet at night. I had a hard time finding a toilet because the subway was closed. But here is the underground Dongdaemun shopping center, which luckily was still open and had a toilet. But here we are in the second part, called the Heunginjimun Trail. And it's about an hour, maybe a little less, if we keep on walking. And here you can see how the city wall continues. This was the city wall water gate. On my right hand side is Dongdaemun Design Plaza, DDP. At this place alone, there's already so much history. You have old Joseon ruins over here. You have the old stadium lights of a stadium that used to be here. Now we're technically walking over the city wall, because you know, when the Japanese built the stadium I was talking about, they destroyed part of the city wall. And when they built DDP, the building over here, the Seoul city government restored parts of the city wall. So this is all restored, and now you can walk over it, which is already unique in a way, because most parts along the trail is not allowed to sit or stand or climb. Obviously, on the old wall. We have to cross the street and continue following the wall over there, one of the smaller city gates. And my favorite, because on that side you have Hanyangdoseong, a really cool neighborhood. And that is the gate where they used to carry corpses through, the death gate for the dead bodies. People who passed away, who died in Hanyang, were carried through this gate and probably brought to one of the cemeteries that was here where Hanyang is today. And another cool thing, the building here behind me, designed and made by Kim Jong-up, my favorite Korean architect. So we have a lot of favorites here at this point of the trail. Beautiful gate as it is, but once it was a dark place for the Koreans because they knew once you exit through the gate it was over and out for most people, unless you were the person who carried the corpses. We made it to part 3, Namsan Trail. One of the harder ones. It's a little over 4 kilometers and it should take me hopefully not more than 3 hours. The Gwangimun Trail finishes there next to the GS. That also means you will find some convenience stores along the way in case you forgot some drinks or something to eat. On the map it says that the Gwangimun Trail should take around an hour. Well, it took me 35 minutes. So if you just keep on walking, you can save a lot of time. Now let's start the Namsan Trail. And here it's getting a little darker.
So far so good. Seeing the city at night gives a completely different perspective. The Naksan Mountain Trail and the Heunginjimun Gate Trail were surprisingly easy. They're estimated at 2 hours, but I finished them in under 1.5. That said, I have a feeling the Namsan Mountain Trail might be a bit more challenging at night.
It's now 2:50 in the morning, so we've been walking for almost 2 hours. Not too bad so far. I've only met one person and we didn't greet each other because you don't really expect anyone else around this time here on these trails. So when you do meet someone, it's a little suspicious, you know, a little suspicious, because you want to be careful. You don't want to meet the wrong person at this time here in the dark. I have a feeling that some parts of the trail are locked off around this time, because according to the map I found online, the trail is supposed to go straight ahead along the tennis court, and that then will be a shortcut to Namsan, which is over there. Instead, I have to go straight and zigzag myself down the mountain again. I take a little detour to get myself back on the trail later.
Yes, so this part here was locked and I had to walk down. Follow the main road up to join the trail again at the entrance of Namsan Park right here.
But I'm pretty sure there are more people like me who are a little adventurous, the night owls who want to try something like this. Give it a go. Now let's go to Namsan Tower. And indeed, this one is a bit harder. Okay guys, now we really go into the darkness. You can stay on the main road, but it will take longer. I decided to take this dark path because it follows the city wall, and that's what we're doing. So this is the official Hanyangdoseong, but there's no light, nothing.
This part of the Namsan Trail was completely dark and it may make you feel uncomfortable. Just a phone light won't do, so I did suggest to stay on the bigger road here.
I must say, so far, this has been the dodgiest part of the trails. So I suggest you stay on the main road leading up to Namsan Tower if you're alone. If you're together with someone else, no worries. But also, you have to come prepared. I have a light connected to the camera. I also have a headlight in the back, several. Some water, protein bars. We made it. Did you know that Seoul Tower is the geographical center of Seoul? Isn't that cool? And unfortunately, you can't get close to the tower or any of the observation decks on that side. It's now 3:47, so I think we can make it by 9 AM at Bugaksan. Now it's time to descend, and honestly guys, the cold creeps in a little. It's -4 now, probably a little colder here on the mountain, and no matter how well I'm dressed, it's hard to protect yourself against the cold when you're outside for so long. And I just sat down for like 3 minutes, which was probably a mistake because that's when I started to get cold. Sometimes I have just these crazy ideas and I can't erase them. And here I am doing it. I can't wait to finish the third part, the Namsan Trail, and then we make a transition into what's it called? The Sungnyemun trail, which is also one of the main gates. Then that trail will take us only about an hour, probably less, and then we'll start the Inwangsan trail. I know some parts of the city wall, they go through neighborhoods that I haven't filmed yet. And along the way I see so many interesting things, like ruins, stories, flags, signboards, special trees. So many stories along the way that I actually want to share with you, but they have no place in this video. This is all about whether we can do the Hanyangdoseong at night. We made it the end of the Namsan trail. It was a good one. There you have the Hilton Hotel. Well, it was the Hilton Hotel. So now we go down a little more to the Sungnyemun and then hurry up to the Inwangsan trail. Ready for the fourth trail, guys. The fourth trail already. We're making good progress. Also, now it's 4:22. The 3 trails that we did were supposed to take us 1.5 plus 1, 2.5 plus 3, so 5.5 hours. We've done it in less than 3.5 hours. And here we have the Sungnyemun. What a beauty, isn't it? That means we're near Dongdaemun market. It's funny how the wall suddenly becomes part of these office buildings. Just out of nowhere, there's like, there's a wall here. I didn't even realize it. And then it stops. But this, of course, is not part of the wall. It's only one row of stones, while usually the wall is a lot wider. It's only 5 a.m., but you can feel that the city is slowly waking up. So we're now at the spot where the Joseon used to be, one of the 4 smaller gates, the secondary gates, and was destroyed by the Japanese when the Japanese ruled Korea. We're now walking into Jongdong. That's the neighborhood behind Doksugun Palace, where you have the American ambassador's residence, Dutch embassy, the Russian embassy, a very old Chinese church, where you have the old Russian legation, well, what's left of it, and the first girls' school, and so many more things. One of the earlier neighborhood videos I made of the Welcome to My Dong series, together with Jacko Zwetslut. Go check it out. And we're back on track. We're walking out of Jongdong now, and here, this is where Dongdaemun used to be. A gate that looked like this, and then it was removed, so it's gone now, and the plaque is there. It's a very small one on the other side. And that concludes Sungnyemun Trail in a lot less than an hour, maybe 30 minutes. Not a big deal, this one. So far was my least favorite one. Jongdong at night, yeah, it's better during the day. So let's cross and make our way to Inwangsan, one of the highlights, and the second most difficult part of the Hanyangdoseong Trail. And now one of the bigger challenges will start. Inwangsan. Oh man, my lower back starts to hurt a little. Getting old. And maybe when we're at the summit of Inwangsan, we'll start to see a sunrise.
I've hiked Inwangsan so many times and it's definitely in my top favorite places here in Seoul. However, I have never hiked the city wall on Inwangsan at night. I know one thing though, it won't be as dark as certain parts of Namsan, and there will be more people because the early birds are starting to wake up.
I quite underestimated this, but I'm not giving up. In the distance you can see the Sonbawi and that little village below. That's where you have lots of shamanic activities. I also filmed this in the Muokdong video. Go check it out. There's too much interesting stuff going on right there. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. So beautiful, the wall at night. I do enjoy it. And then an hour ago or a little more, we were there on the other side. Unbelievable. Ooh. Here I gotta be more careful because this is really climbing. No more steps, just big boulders, rocks, and a thin rope in between me and a deep fall. You come here often?
Yeah.
Around this time?
Yes, no, not this time.
I'm doing Hanyangdoseong, everything.
Ah, okay.
Very tired.
You're YouTuber?
Yeah, YouTuber.
Uh-huh.
I started this morning the Hyewamun
Wow.
and did everything.
You come here often?
Yeah, Inwangsan is my favorite mountain.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you an iGoBart?
Yes,
Wow.
that is me.
Wow.
That is me.
Wow. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
The last thing I expected was to meet a subscriber, here in the dark on Inwangsan. The timing was perfect though, as I was starting to feel it after all that climbing and descending, and this interaction gave me enough energy to continue.
The last thing I expected was to meet a subscriber on Inwangsan around this time, and it's 5:50. And then we walked exactly 5 hours, non-stop. I had a few very short rests. I'm so happy I met the subscriber, it just gave me some energy. It's insane. I always, from the other side, look at Inwangsan at night and imagine how it must be to be here at 5 in the morning. It's exactly how I imagine it, but even better. This is it. The summit, Inwangsan, Cheongsang, Sambek Samshipal Mita. We made it, guys. Inwangsan, the summit. That over there is Bugaksan, and the trail is supposed to go over there. But as you can see, it is pitch black, not a single light along the trail. So my guess is that it won't be possible for us to do that part. Which, honestly, if you ask me, I don't really mind at the moment. 6:20.
Out of the 5 sections, Inwangsan was easily my favorite. Best views, best trail, and the wall just looked incredible. The reward up here simply felt bigger than the rest, at night. Online, I found conflicting information about section 6, Bugak Mountain, especially about opening times. The sign says 9 AM, but who knows, maybe it opens earlier.
But before we end the video, there's one more thing we have to do, or check, and that's whether the Bugak trail is open there at Sungnyemun. Fantastic, and now the sun is rising, sky in the distance is coloring red slowly, as you can see. Beautiful. The moment of truth. Just as I thought, the Bugaksan trail opens at 9, and it is now 6:45. So I have to wait another 2 hours and 15 minutes, which I'm of course not going to do. But let's give you an update, because the question was, can you do the Seoul City Wall trail at night? The answer is yes, you can. At least 5 parts of it, not all 6, because this one opens at 9 and closes earlier. The estimated time for the 5 parts that I did was around 8.5 hours. We've done it in 5 hours and 45 minutes. Not bad, right? Not bad. Maybe that's why my body hurts so much. This trail is another, well, according to this, 3 hours. When I do it, probably 2. So then it would have been 8, 9, almost 9 hours for the entire Seoul City Wall. But what you can do, if you want to do everything, you have to plan a bit better than I did. I started at 1, and then you arrive here around 7 or maybe 8. If you're a bit slower than me, you probably arrive here at 9. So you can glue the Bugak trail to the other 5 parts. Then you can do the whole thing all at once. I walked 26,500 steps, which isn't too bad, considering I hiked 3 mountains. Usually when you hike mountains, the steps are always a bit disappointing. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me on this tough challenge. And I'll see you in the next video. Haru.